In this video, I'm here to talk about a few tips to help a beginner get into macro photography. Macro photography is not always easy, especially for beginners, but it can be one of the most rewarding genres of photography you can do. The great thing about macro photography is that you don't have to travel anywhere to take amazing macro shots. You can find subjects to photograph in your own backyard or even inside your home. Macro photography is close-up photography of small subjects, including things like bugs and flowers. Finding subjects to photograph usually isn't too hard in this genre. You will just need to take your time and walk slowly. If you are looking for bugs, the best places to look are areas with dense plant life, especially areas with lots of wildflowers. Another good type of area to find bugs are places with bodies of water such as ponds and lakes. These areas are easiest to find insects such as dragonflies, damselflies, and mayflies, since they lay their eggs in water and spend most of their time nearby water. Focusing in macro photography can be challenging at times, but there's a few methods you can use to help. First method is to shoot in manual mode. I don't recommend shooting in autofocus because autofocus can sometimes hunt for focus, which means it can't lock onto a subject successfully, or it will focus on something you didn't even want in focus. Shooting in manual gives you complete control over what you want to be in focus. Another focusing method is the rocking technique. This method is for when you're shooting handheld, and this method is simply just you moving your body back and forth until your subject is in focus in your viewfinder. For beginners, I recommend using a tripod because focusing can be difficult at times. When you're out taking photos, I always recommend taking lots of photos because with macro photography, most of the images you take will be throwaways since you're working with such a shallow depth of field. It will be hard getting the shot you want with only a few shots. I also recommend trying different angles of the subjects you're shooting, even if you think you have the shot you like, just because it will give you more variety to choose from, and you may even like the other angle shots better than the first ones you took. You might be thinking that you need the very best camera and equipment to achieve the best macro shots, but that is not the case. You don't need the best camera to achieve great macro shots. Really, any DSLR camera is good enough. You'll just need the right equipment to take proper macro and close-up shots. If you don't have the money for a proper macro lens, the best alternative for that is to buy a Raynox DCR 250. The Raynox is a snap-on lens that can turn any lens into a macro lens. Just keep in mind that a kit lens with the Raynox isn't technically considered true macro since the photos you take aren't at 1:1 magnification. But you can still take great photos with this setup. Another alternative is macro extension tubes. They work by attaching the tubes between your camera body and the lens, but before buying, just make sure that the tubes you get are compatible with your camera. Just like with the Raynox setup, the extension tube setup isn't considered true macro, but you can still achieve great shots with this setup. If you are looking to buy a true macro lens, I feel like the best type lenses are in the 90 to 105mm range because lenses at this focal length are the most versatile. You can get full body macro shots and super close macro shots if you choose. My current setup is the Sigma 105mm macro lens, and I also use the Raynox for more magnification. This setup is really versatile because I can get full body shots of a bug and I can get some close-up shots of bugs. But these types of lenses can be pricey, but it's definitely worth it. Another option would be a 50mm macro lens. They are a lot cheaper, but the only downside is that they are not as versatile as a 90 to 105 millimeter lens, but you could use extension tubes and array knocks with the lens to increase the magnification. Another important piece of equipment is to have a speedlight flash. Flash has multiple roles in macro photography. It allows you to work with a smaller aperture and have a deeper depth of field. You don't need the most expensive flash. You can find some from $50 to $100. The last piece of equipment that is really important is a diffuser. A diffuser in macro photography is really important because it will soften the light of the subject you're photographing. Without one, your photos will have harsh light on your subject and very harsh shadows. I plan to go more in depth about diffusion in a separate video. Macro photography is a very rewarding genre and very easy to get into since it doesn't require traveling, but it can be tricky and not always easy for beginners. But with these tips, I hope they can help you become a better photographer overall. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.